Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. So a brazen Matric exam cheating scandal has rocked the education department in Mpumalanga, with pupils in several schools allegedly paying teachers, listen to this, upwards of 1,500 rand in order to join WhatsApp groups on which answers, we're told, were posted while maths and physical science exams were in session. So according to the city press, a whistleblower says at least 370 pupils and some teachers were involved in the scheme to provide answers via smuggled cell phones. For reaction to this, let's bring in Mhlanga, who's a spokesperson for the education department, basic education department to be more specific. Elijah, great to have you on the program. Thanks so much indeed for speaking to us in reaction to these reports that emerged today. Let me just start by gauging, given the time that's lapsed, whether or not you've been able to confirm the veracity of the claims being made in these reports.
Good afternoon, Ayanda. Well, the department has been working on this matter for some time. The information came through via our hotline, which is a system which we are using to receive information on the regularities insofar as they affect the National Senior Certificate Examination. So we had been doing some work to try verify some of the information, some of the allegations that are coming through. We're in the middle of that. All the things that are mentioned in the article in the Sunday Times are subject of investigation.
So as things stand, you can't say for sure whether or not these WhatsApp groups exist, whether or not pupils did in fact pay money in order to get answers to some exam questions, whether or not the exam subjects in question are maths and science. Those are things you're still ascertaining.
Yeah, we're trying to ascertain that, but based on the preliminary investigation that has been done, some of the interaction that we've had with some of the people on the ground, it seems to be the case. But of course, on a matter like this one, you need to have good, credible evidence that will ensure that you get a guilty verdict when it comes to the disciplinary process itself. So that's what we're working on, and we feel that a proper investigation is required because there are so many allegations going in different directions that are flying around. But it's something really that should concern us because it threatens the image of the examination.
Absolutely. Let's say there's prima facie evidence. That term has been thrown around quite a lot in the past few weeks. The implications are really quite dire. I mean, if this was actually taking place, the first question would be around whether or not the department would be contemplating a rewrite of these particular papers.
Well, the good thing is that marking started yesterday. So marking in NS was commenced, and the implicated scripts will be subjected to investigative marking, which means we will be paying close attention to the answers the candidates in that area in the implicated schools have given, and that will then tell us what it is exactly that has taken place. So we should be able to get some answers very soon, which will then give us a possible way forward in terms of what should be done. But as indicated, the investigation is continuing, and we hope that people who are implicated will be able to come forward, give us information so that we don't have to spend a lot of time doing an investigation which could be concluded speedily.
Have you been in contact with your officials in Mpumalanga?
Yes, of course. We work with the Education Department in Mpumalanga because they are the implementing agency of the Department of Basic Education when it comes to an exam like this one, which is a nationally regulated exam. So they are working with us, and we can't work in a matter like this one without their involvement because it's them who are on the ground and on a variety of things. It is them who take steps to address different irregularities that emerge at any time during the exam, and we will be working with them right to the end.
What are they telling you about what they know about the scheme?
Well, they're also investigating. I mean, people who do things like this normally they don't do it in the open. I mean, they try to hide it. So it will take some doing for all of us to get the facts. So in the initial conversations with the Provincial Education Department, they were also surprised that there was something like this that was taking place. That's why they are fully cooperating in supporting the Department of Basic Education in making sure that information is made available so that we can understand the full extent of what has been taking place. Right now, it's reports that are coming through from different people, but we hope that the investigators and the officials in the Department of Basic Education as well as the Mpumalanga Education Department will get the cooperation that's required from all involved to ensure that we're able to get to the bottom of it.
Yeah. We're told 370 pupils are involved in one way or the other. I wonder whether you've been able to ascertain whether this is restricted to one particular school or is spread across multiple schools in Mpumalanga.
Well, that number of 370, we can't verify it as yet. We are early in the investigation. So the journalists would have written based on their own investigation. Because in a matter like this one where people report, they say whatever that they want to say. So our duty is to make sure that we understand exactly what has taken place, do further investigation, corroborating the information that we are getting. But what is clear is that learners from several schools are involved. So you can't say it's the school itself, if the learners from that school are involved, but in some cases it could be the school itself which is enabling this, but we don't know. So all of these things are going to be part and parcel of the investigation.
Yeah, my understanding is that, for instance, if, by the way, these reports are true, is that learners in some ways were able to smuggle their cell phones into the particular exam venue and use those cell phones once the answers are posted on the WhatsApp group, of course, to respond to their question paper. It's hard to imagine something like that happening without the invigilator catching sight of it in one way or the other, especially because that's kind of the singular job they have in that room, to see if people are well and if anybody's cheating.
No, you're correct. It's a complex web of activities that are taking place there. You can see that it involves different people at different levels. That's why it needs to be investigated thoroughly, and we really appeal to people who are implicated to come through with information. It has helped, based on previous experience, for people to come forward with information, volunteer the information to the department, so that we can get to understand in full what has taken place. That way, the candidates will be able to get their results without further delay once they've been cleared. But those that are guilty will also be able to get the sanction imposed on them if they are found guilty. And if there are teachers as well that are involved or other officials that are involved, we should also be able to proceed with the necessary processes in terms of disciplinary action that should take place. We know already that the teacher has been suspended there linked to this matter. So some action is taking place from Mpumalanga, and that we appreciate. So it's important that everyone that's involved does exactly what it's supposed to do so that we're able to stop this type of practice once and for all.
Sure. It's good to hear that there's some kind of suspension that's taken place, which I guess gives credence to the idea that the department feels like something is untoward here. With that in mind, 24 hours ago, I asked you how you felt about how this exam session has gone. The thrust of your response was that you're satisfied. Given these allegations and what you know so far, I wonder whether you're in a position to revise that perception.
No, I won't revise. You see, what happens is that you look at the overall size of the examination. You've got 921,000 learners. You've got 6,700 exam centers. And if a few, like a handful, are involved in malpractice, that is standard in terms of exam administration in general. So what has happened there cannot threaten the entire credibility of the learners that are in KwaZulu-Natal or Western Cape or Northern Cape, for example. It is confined to that particular area, so we'll deal with it there where it is. And if it means we block the results, we'll block the results there of those people that are implicated and still be able to release the results of the entire cohort of candidates who have written the exam and still be able to allow them to proceed with their lives without any blemish on their results. So we are still confident that the result overall, taking everything into account, it has gone well.
All right. Well, if you've been on the receiving end of chain messages on WhatsApp, you'll know how quickly those messages can actually flow from one person to another. But very well, something tells me you and I are going to speak a lot in the next few weeks, so let's leave it there for now. Appreciate your time. Mhlanga is the spokesperson for the Basic Education Department. Astonishing story. This. We'll keep watching it for you as it continues to unfold.